Okay, today we're doing another unrehearsed live camera shoot of these packages that were just dropped off today. I believe that they should be numecron time meter clocks, flat rate box. Good, I needed more bubble wrap. And yes, we have a beautiful TV model numecron. This one's interesting. It's got the orange front, but it's got the dark swirl bakelite-ish case. Now I've come up with new bulbs for these. And I got two different styles that I'm going to try. These are LED, and they have a single LED element in a form factor to fit the candelabra base that these clocks take. These are also LED, and they have three elements. I should be able to run these in these clocks and have full brightness without any danger of melting the plastic that these clocks are so prone to. This one appears to have no melt marks in the TV screen or in the case. Now for anyone doing these, there's an asbestos pad glued to this top inside, which needs to be soaked down good and wet and then removed, because after 50 years it can fray and make dust, and it's very unhealthy. For domestic and international use. Priority mail. Only from the U.S. Post Office. And only if you're not too concerned with damage. Here we go with the peanuts. I can dump some into the other box, saving the mess. I do currently have stuff for sale on eBay, and I recycle my packaging. Now this is a ham radio numecron. It's 24-hour. This is their original case that they made, from what I could find out, from the 1950s, right on up to at least 74. This one is a 1969, and it's absolutely spotlessly clean. It looks like it's never been used. It is literally brand new. And I got a real good price on this. It's never been taken apart. And all they did is they put more teeth on the wheels and made the numbers smaller. As you can see, the bezel is reduced down in size. Now this is either a clock or it may be a clock radio. I don't know yet. Judging by the timing, I'm thinking it's clock radio. Very well protected. It's the clock radio. Now this clock radio uses like the GE roll clock mechanism that they use in the stoves. The numbers are actually like on film with cogs, like movie film. This is a replacement for the clock radio that was in our kitchen in 1977 when we lived in an apartment. This clock radio was later replaced with the one that I showed in the other video, which was a big clock. So we had this when I was a kid. I remember breaking this handle off and my stepfather repairing it at the time. And yeah, this is actually like a movie film that rolls through here. This is a GE clock mechanism. It actually says Sears on it, but it's a GE clock radio. That's your sleep timer. So that's kind of cool. Needs a little bit of a good cleaning. But it's another radio that we had when I was a kid. I believe this sat in our kitchen, and it was replaced with the Ken Tech, which has a huge digital clock, which is actually 100% mechanical. And I do show it in another video. This thing is absolutely flawless and clean. 1965 on this one. This might have been parted from two different clocks because the screws aren't original either. Now these two, this one is westclox competition, and they did several things to avoid getting sued by numecron. Interesting thing, the motor in this is made by General Time, the company that made the parts inside of these. I think all the clock companies were bought out by General Time eventually. This one's all done and restored and cleaned up. It's a nice looking case it has, except the light is burned out. And the only place I can get these to replace them is I got to tear these apart and use the bulbs out of those for the clocks. This basically works like a numechron clock, except it's a little different, is it has this little bar here, and when it comes up on the 0, there's a pin. And that little bar pushes the pin, engages the next wheel, advancing the tenths. Now to keep the wheels the same size, what they did is there's two sets of tenths on here. Goes up to 5 and then back to 0, and then does it again. When that's on 5 and this comes to 9, the pin will come through and it will push the second pin, which is right there, locks all three of them together and advances the hour. So it works the same way, especially this part, as a numechron clock, but it's different enough that they didn't have to worry about being sued for an infringement. And the last one that I think people will be interested in is this is an 1890s Singer sewing machine case that I had, sometimes referred to as the puzzle box, and I'm trying to buy a couple more because this is a really cool box, and I decided to use it as a display model to display a numechron clock movement in, because nobody wants the sewing machines anymore. They're not worth anything. So I gave the sewing machines away, but I kept the wooden case, which had all the buttonhole attachments and stuff, and decided to use it for an extra movement I had. So I cut out a hole for the display, and then you can open it up and completely display the entire mechanism in operation. This one's running neon lights. And it works great.